If you talk to most people in the Warframe community, they will tell you that shield gating is really good. But why? It doesn't do much. It provides a short window during which damage taken doesn't bleed over into your health pool once your shields break. But once that window closes, you can still get hit and die. So why is it better than other, more traditional forms of defense, like actually using your shield, stacking health and armor, or using abilities or mods to provide damage reduction? Well, the most straightforward answer is that damage immunity, even if brief, is generally better than damage reduction. It doesn't matter how hard something hits you. If you're immune, you're just gonna shrug it off. And on a similar note, it doesn't matter how rapid the damage is, because again, as long as you're immune, you're gonna shrug it off. That is not the case with the other defensive mechanics like armor, shields, and damage reduction. Eventually, these are not gonna be enough. But that's not the only reason why shield gating is so popular. It's also very accessible. As long as the Warframe has some amount of shields, it can utilize shield gating. The duration of the shield gate will change depending on the amount of shields you have on your Warframe, starting at 0.33 seconds with minimum shields and scaling all the way up to 2.5 seconds with 1150 shields, which would make it so that Warframes with more shields would be better at shield gating, but we also have catalyzing shields, which minimizes your Warframe shields and then resets the shield gating numbers to pre-Abyss of Dagath. Now, why would you want to cripple your shields if more shields equals a longer shield gate? Well, because catalyzing shields hard caps your maximum shield gate timer at 1.33 seconds, and fewer shields are easier to replenish. You see, the game doesn't look at your maximum shield when it's determining the gating duration, it looks at your shield value at the time of breaking. So if your Warframe has 1150 shields, which would give you the full 2.5 seconds of shield gating, but you get hit twice, with the first hit removing 1000 shields and the second hit breaking the rest of them, you're only gonna get minimum shield gating duration, because at the time of breaking, you had 150 shields. And this brings us to another reason why the Catalyzing Shields mod is so good. It changes this from a flat value to a percentage value, which makes a lot of sense because Catalyzing Shields absolutely nukes your shield value. So not only is shield gating accessible, it's also very flexible. Now, because shield gating has effectively infinite scaling, because it doesn't matter how hard you get hit, because you're just gonna be immune, and because it's so easily available and flexible, the ability to recover any amount of shields becomes extremely strong. Because if you can recover your shields in between shield gating, you're effectively immortal. One thing to bear in mind though is that shield gating doesn't prevent damage to shields, it just prevents damage from bleeding over into your health. So if you get hit and your shields break, which triggers a shield gate, and then you use something like replenish shields, they can instantly start taking damage again, which isn't amazing. So the shield recovery needs to be reliable, it needs to be repeatable, you need to be able to do it at a moment's notice. Well, it's a good thing then that we have the Augur set as well as Brief Respite, both of which recover a percentage of the energy you spend on abilities as shields, allowing you to effectively turn energy into shield at a moment's notice. This is particularly strong on spammy casters like Korra or Atlas, because you don't even have to think about it, you're constantly replenishing your shields by doing nothing out of the ordinary. Now, the shield generation from these mods is generally not that high, which is why they're usually paired up with catalyzing shields. Because if your maximum shields are very low, you're no longer recovering a small percentage of your shields when you trigger Brief Respite or the Augur set. And those are just the generic ways of recovering shields. There are more frame or even companion-specific ones. Caliban has Lethal Progeny, Equinox has Mend and Maim, Harrow has Condemn, Hildrin has Pillage, Mag has Polarize and Crush, then there is Protea with Grenade Fan, Revenant with Dance Macabre, Styanax has Rally Point, Trinity has Blessing, or you could even put on Rebuild Shields from Helminth. And speaking of Helminth, Hildrin's Pillage is subsumable. Then there are companion mods. We have Guardian, which is a genetic robotics mod. We have Molecular Conversion. For Taxon, there is Protect for Raxa Kubros. Even Smita's Charm can replenish your shields, though it's not very reliable. You could even use the Rakta Dark Dagger, which replenishes a small amount of shields and can actually grant over shields when hitting an enemy that's affected by a radiation status proc. And I could go on and on and on. There are Augments, Arcanes, Spectres. There's 1,000 different ways that you can use to recover your shields. So let's just move on to the next, for the lack of a better word, thing. You can stack shield gating on top of other stuff. One mod that people love to stack on top of shield gating is Rolling Guard, another source of invulnerability. This has a 7-second cooldown with a 3-second uptime, and all you have to do is roll. Invulnerability in general is very strong when paired up with shield gating because it allows you to cover the weaknesses of shield gating. There is a delay between your shields breaking and regenerating. And while you can deal with that with fast deflection, which shortens this delay and increases the speed at which your shields recharge, you can also just be invulnerable. Or you can have good damage and crowd control. The enemies aren't gonna hit you if they're crowd controlled or dead. Shield gating is a great example of how knowing the why of something is very important. If someone tells you that shield gating is all you need for Steel Path, you're gonna run your Excalibur into Steel Path, get hit, trigger your shield gate, and then get hit again and die. Because it's not just the effect of the shield gate, the invulnerability you get from it, that's keeping you safe. It's a combination of many things. And if done right, can make you effectively immortal. And that is pretty much it for the video. So I thank you very much for watching. As always guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it helpful, and I would also like to extend a special thank you to all the channel members. Thank you very much guys, I really appreciate your support. If by the way there is any other mechanic you would like to see explained in this style of video, feel free to leave a comment down below. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.